Now we move forward to the Man of the Year. In 1978, actually, our Man of the Year was here on the dais as an All-American defensive end from Joe Paterno's 11-1 Penn State team. He was 20 years old and still trying to grow a mustache. If you would turn your attention one more time to our big screens here in the hall to get some insight on the life of our Man of the Year.
He built himself into a football player and became one of the most decorated winners in NFL history. He built himself into a broadcaster.
Giant defense has really carried this team for forever.
And was set to become the most popular in the business. He tried to build a football team, but that construction came crashing down. Matt Millen knows that in both football and life, the building process can be long, painful, and complicated. For every reward, there's a risk. The kid from Hockendakwa, Pennsylvania, had a beautiful mind. But the sixth of Harry and Elizabeth's 11 children often was fighting with someone. And his father's way of stopping a fight was to have the combatants toe the line in the basement.
Put the gloves on you. You want to fight? We're going to fight for real. And guess what? You're going to fight until you stop. I mean, you can't fight anymore.
The fighter found a new outlet for his aggression when his high school coach introduced him to weightlifting. During his high school years, Millen gained over 100 pounds, and as a senior, he was bench pressing over 400. He'd also drawn the attention of Bill Mallory, the head coach at the University of Colorado.
When Coach Mallory started telling Dad, and he's like, we want your son at Colorado. We need your son at Colorado. Do you know why, Mr. Millen? He was like, oh, yeah, well, yeah. He said, because he's a prick, and we need pricks at Colorado.
Dallas Cowboys star Randy White probably would have agreed with Mallory's assessment of Millen. White recruited Millen on behalf of the University of Maryland. Millen didn't end up at Maryland. He became Joe Paterno's problem at Penn State.
He had a little bit of a problem with authority, and Joe started screaming at him for something and threw him out of practice, and I just shook my head as, oh, he doesn't get it.
But on the field, Millen was in charge. As a junior, he was an All-American. As a senior, he once again butted heads with Paterno.
When I was at Penn State, I was considered one of the biggest outlaws and renegades they've ever had. You know, I got kicked off the team. They voted me to the all-delinquent team.
Eventually, Millen was reinstated. He and Paterno remained close friends for the rest of Paterno's life. And as Millen headed to the NFL, he found a team that welcomed his fighting spirit. Just win, baby, was the Raiders' mantra. It became Millen's way of life. The former defensive end was moved to linebacker. He called the plays in the huddle for a veteran defense and regularly displayed his obsession for the game. That was never more apparent than when he arrived at Super Bowl 15. Millen's rookie season ended with a world championship. 3 years later, the Raiders were back in the Super Bowl. Millen was part of a dominant defensive performance.
Look at Matt Millen out there. He is fired up.
Well, he was a 255-pound inside linebacker who probably couldn't outrun 5 of our 6 defensive linemen.
Matt Millen, great name. Get in there. Come on, run at me. Let's go. Get in the pitch.
You can make up for a lack of great speed by not making any mistakes. He knew the game, and he played it with a passion.
There isn't anything that he didn't do to make himself better. He just refused to be beaten.
Matt Millen was one of those gentlemen of the game that were vicious competitors, but really understood how we're in it all together. So it was a lot of fun to play against him.
Somehow he'd gone from a college delinquent to a gentleman of the game. But if Steve Young thought it was fun to play against Millen, he was about to learn what it was like to have him as a teammate.
Matt didn't come in to take over. He came in to say, hey, I belong here. I need to be a part of this. And here's what I bring. I bring this knowledge.
Don't even worry about anything there. I'll take care of the trap to my side. You just go.
I bring this ability to be physical.
And Otis Anderson gets upended by Matt Millen. Matt Millen, a Pro Bowl ball player last year with the Raiders. He's a pleasant addition to this 49ers squad.
Some people don't want to do dirty work. And if it meant for us to win a football game, Matt was willing to do the dirty work.
I just loved his attitude, man. Who wants to be known playing 14, 15 years and never come in your life? You know, who wants to be a loser? Matt wants to win at any cost. That's what Matt was all about.
Millen quickly became a part of the 49ers family. And the father of four wanted the 49ers to be a part of his family.
We would invite all the bachelor guys on the team to come over for a home-cooked meal.
Millen kept the dinner time tradition going when he went to Washington in 1991. Another tradition Millen was big on: winning Super Bowls.
Tries to go up the middle, and the 49ers, Matt Millen comes charging through, makes the tackle.
He won his third ring with the 49ers.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll tell you what, I'm happy for you.
And his fourth with the Redskins. Millen's run-stuffing ability helped the Redskins win the physical NFC East. But in the playoffs, Washington faced teams with wide-open passing offenses. So Millen was deactivated.
It's about winning, and if that's what it takes to win, then go ahead, do it. And I told Gibbsy, if I were sitting in your shoes, I would do the same thing.
He still brought the same passion, same energy, the same leadership, still held you accountable. The born leader. Matt Millen is one of my heroes.
After 12 years in the NFL, Matt Millen retired with 4 Super Bowl rings. He was done as a player, but he didn't leave the game.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan with Matt Millen, former 49er here at Candlestick Park.
To work with him was remarkable because he would see the game so quickly. He could really pick out what was the essence of what made a play work. He was as good a broadcaster in football as there was, and he was destined, in my mind, to be the #1 broadcaster at Fox as soon as John retired.
Following the 2000 season, Millen would stop talking about NFL teams to see if he could build one himself.
Matt Millen, new president, CEO, Detroit Lions.
Millen lost 12 in a row to begin his career in Detroit and won just 5 games in his first 2 seasons.
Oh, my goodness. The nightmare continues for the Lions.
In 2008, with the Lions on their way to the only 0-16 season in NFL history, Millen was fired after a Week 3 loss to the 49ers.
For my dad, it meant you failed. You didn't figure it out. And that, I think, was the hardest thing for him.
You're going to fail at times. The failing is inconsequential to me. It's the passion and the effort that you give while trying to succeed. And I think Matt exemplifies that in everything that he does.
He's returned to the broadcast booth.
Yeah, what we'll probably see is a series out of them. If they get the score, you won't see the rest of the day. But here's what you did see out of them. You saw the accuracy.
Matt Millen knows that football comes with a game plan. However, there's no blueprint for life.
You know, John Madden told me one time, he said, you know, when God made us, he put a little bit of not done yet in all of us. There's some great truth to that. And I also believe this. All we are is a collection of all we've been. And I count it a blessing for all the experiences that I've had, good and bad. You learn the most from the bad. I wouldn't change any of it. If you can add to that a little faith, a little hope, a little grace, you have a better chance.
Here to present the 2013 Man of the Year Award, my colleague from ESPN, longtime broadcaster here in Connecticut, Joe Tessitore.
Thank you, John. I think my wife is wondering, that's who you spend every weekend on the road with after watching that? We just got off the road, Matt and I. We called the Thrilling Orange Bowl last week, and I am so happy to come back home to my home, New Haven, Connecticut, where I can easily explain why folks up here were commenting on how loud we were. Jameis, welcome to a good old-fashioned Italian dinner, my friend. Because we like to drink our red wine, we like to eat well, and then we sit back and we unbuckle a little bit and we take it all in as Grandma and Grandpa, as Nona gets ready to speak here. So welcome to New Haven, everybody. When I'm in charge, we're going to go Pepe's, Sally's, and maybe a little modern someday. I am truly honored to introduce my broadcast partner, Matt Millen. The Matt Millen that NFL Films sold us on for years, that you just saw, is filled with Penn State lore and legendary images captured for history that's of a destructive defensive force, a true Raider, a relentless warrior, a guy who's willing to sacrifice anything for the team, a guy who's willing to sacrifice anything for the win. That's the easy picture to paint. A snot-bubbling, blood-stained linebacker, a fierce competitor who Joe Paterno could barely tame and Al Davis never wanted to contain, a loyal soldier who survived famous football wars. You mix in a little overflowing football IQ, you got brain with that brawn, you got guts meeting glory, every honor from Walter Camp All-America to a 4-time Super Bowl winner, 4 Super Bowl rings. He took control of an NFL franchise, he took control of a BCS broadcast booth at ESPN. Folks, that is the easy, hackneyed snapshot of Matt Millen, the predictable way to describe Matt Millen. The more difficult scene to uncover is what I want to celebrate tonight. It's what I want to honor tonight. The Matt Millen you likely don't know has all the same descriptives that I just went through, but just different purposes. That sacrifice for the win is actually the sacrifice of charity, true charity, without praise coming in return, right, Matt? Because that's what true charity is. Anonymous charity. Sincerity to help others, as he does daily for those in need, building with his skills as a carpenter, his hands, giving with hard-earned resources and an overflowing heart. And that loyal soldier that I described on the football field for famous coaches is actually the most loyal to the only coach that really matters to him. His God, his faith. That's the only coach in Matt Millen's life. And he does not need to let you know it. He doesn't need to tell you about his faith. He lives it every single day. He shows it. He understands how blessed he is. Matt chooses to share those blessings instead of celebrating or judging others. And as for those honors that he has earned, those 4 Super Bowl rings, and I want to deputize the back corner of the room here. If you can hear my voice, say shh. Thank you. Ask his wonderful wife, Patricia, where those 4 Super Bowl rings are. The answer is a small bag in a random kitchen drawer. That's the likely answer. Matt's 4 championships are actually a living and breathing testament to everything he has taught and shaped. He has 4 children. Those are his Super Bowl rings. He has 2 beautiful and caring daughters who help others by trade. They counsel, they help, they reach out through community efforts. And 2 strong leaders for sons. One an attorney who uses his mind to guide those in need. He's a pastor and a father himself. The other is a West Point graduate who bravely serves our country to this day. He's fought for our freedoms in Afghanistan. And that's a place that Matt himself has gone to honor those serving with his son. And when we're doing games, I'll turn sometimes to my booth and I'll be introduced to 2 young men who I understand. One's a sniper who just returned. The other was a foot soldier in Marcus's platoon, and they'll sit with us in the booth for games, and they'll be awed of us for calling a football game, and I laugh because we're in awe of them. Those are Matt Millen's rings. And for this wonderful group of All-Americans behind me, I want you to ask yourself this tonight as we honor Matt Millen. How authentic are you? How real and authentic are you right now? And how authentic can you be for years to come, to someday arrive back here at Yale, as Matt Millen has, to be honored for the man you are instead of the plays you made? Think about authenticity, young men. Return here someday. I am honored to welcome the Man of the Year, Matt Millen.
Thank you, Joe Tessitore. If the real Matt Millen is here, please show up, because I'm not that guy. Holy smokes, Joseph. Thank you very much. And to that, I want to say, I thank my God, for without his providential hand, none of us would be here tonight. So thank him as well. Many people to thank: the Walter Camp Foundation, all the honorees, the Walter Camp All-American team, and their cell phones, because they've been on them all night long, if you notice that. The honorees, Coach Cutcliffe, Huffy, good man, I haven't seen for a while. My friend, Joe Theismann. Heck, I've known Joe so long, I remember when he was back, I remember when his name was Theismann. Theismann for the Heisman didn't work, so he changed it. Theismann for the Heisman. Of course, that didn't work either. Sorry about that, Joe. He's speaking last, so he'll probably get me. Yeah, but that's okay. I wanted to take a little bit of time first to talk to these guys back here. Because 35 years ago, I was sitting in that same seat with all the same aspirations, all the same dreams, all the things that you think about. The next level of playing pro football, the excitement that it brings, wanting to be an all-pro, wanting to go to Super Bowls, wanting to win, all those things. I thought those things, I attained those things, and I'm here to tell you, while they're admirable, it's not the answer. But go do it. You must do it, because you have to find out yourself. I want to talk to you tonight about the power of one. The power of one. The power of one is singular. The power of one is very, very powerful indeed. Because what it is, it speaks of the power that you have as an individual to influence someone. And it's not only in the realm of sports, it's in all walks of life. You yourselves experienced it or have experienced it. Look at medicine, the world of medicine. Look no further than the father of medicine, Hippocrates, who was able to separate medicine from philosophy and religion and turned it into what we have today. Whenever I think of the power of one, I think of the person standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square, defiant, standing there for something other than to take care of the oppressive government that's in front of them. That's the power of one. It's effective, and again, it's extremely powerful. But now I will submit to you that it's also not quite there yet. Remember when Madden told me we're all put here and there's just a little not done yet in you? Well, the power of one is not done yet, because what it needs is another. And so I would tell you that the power of one another is the most powerful force that we can have. And so I would tell you this, as a rule, if you learn nothing else tonight, remember this: consider one another more important than yourself. And if you follow this principle, you'll have great success. And it will carry you It'll carry you not only on the field, it'll carry you in whatever endeavor you have afterwards. It's the most important thing you can ever have. Consider one another more important than yourself. Because I have been on great teams. I have been on bad teams. Heck, I was in charge of some really bad teams, but don't tell anybody. And so, the most important thing that you can have as a player, as a teammate, as a business person, anything, the most important thing you can have is selflessness. Did you hear what I said? It's selflessness. It's not selfishness. There's a lot of selfishness all around us. It's rampant. And it gets confused with individuality. And it gets confused with strong people. And it gets confused with all these things that they label. And you know what it is? It's selfishness. Get rid of the selfishness. Focus on the selflessness. And if you do, you'll have great success. I guarantee it. Oh, it may not come in what you think success is, but it'll come back. It'll come back, and it'll rest on your shoulders. And so I tell you this, consider one another more important than yourself. You're not here alone. You represent a lot of people, from your parents to your coaches to your teammates and forward. So you stand on the shoulders of the people who've walked before you. Huffy's one of them. Joe's one of them. David's one of them. There's a lot of guys in this room. The Hawk is out here. Tony Dorsett, love that guy. There's a lot of those. We stand on their shoulders, and you stand firm, because the ones coming after you will be standing on your shoulders as well. God bless you, and thank you very much.